In 2001, the mission organization that my husband and I were involved with was in a time of transition. We found ourselves in a financial crisis. And I wrote in my diary at that time, we're in one of the most difficult seasons ever. And I remember one particular night, my husband Malcolm was out at a meeting and our children were asleep in bed, and I got down on my knees. I was praying, crying out to God about what was happening in our ministry. And then suddenly, as I was on my knees praying, I saw in my mind's eye some diagrams that clearly explained changes that were affecting our mission agency. So I got up off my knees, grabbed some paper, drew the pictures that I'd seen, and sat up late writing notes from them. Those diagrams described a paradigm shift that helped turn our ministry around, and that insight given in picture form from the Holy Spirit helped us to communicate to church leaders in New Zealand and Australia the changes that were taking place and how we could facilitate them. Not only did that contribute to the turnaround of our ministry in New Zealand, it was also instrumental in moving us here to Australia into God's new season for our lives. Here's what I believe that God is saying right now. We often pray and ask Him for guidance, for direction, for where to go, but He wants to add to that and give us strategies and blueprints that describe not only our destination, but also how to get there. One of the definitions of a blueprint is a guide for making something. It's a design or a pattern that can be followed. And God is saying, will you believe me to give you supernatural strategies and blueprints, patterns and designs? Will you seek me for wisdom? Because I long to give you so much more than you've received up until now. In Genesis 41, Joseph interprets Pharaoh's prophetic dream that 7 years of plenty in the land are going to be followed by 7 years of famine. But he doesn't stop with that interpretation. He boldly follows it with a blueprint, an anointed strategy for how Pharaoh can manage that situation and save the nation. And Pharaoh asks, can we find anyone like this man in whom is the Spirit of God? He puts Joseph in charge of the project. Here's another thing about strategies from heaven. That sometimes God's wisdom might not make immediate earthly sense, and maybe no one has articulated it this way before, but God is giving you a strategy that's a now blueprint for a new thing that He's doing. It's supernatural wisdom. It's a heavenly solution to your earthly problem. So believe, ask, listen and record. Might come in a dream, a prophetic word, a picture, a prayer, or in a moment of practical but God-breathed wisdom and insight. Be open to the many ways that God can speak to you, because right now the Holy Spirit is stirring us and He's saying, will you believe and ask me not only for the direction but also the strategy, the how of getting there. Be encouraged by these words of James. If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you.